Welcome to another episode of DD on the Spot. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. Before I get to our guest here today, I'd like to remind everyone that if you enjoy this content, to please give a like and subscribe down below. We greatly appreciate it. We have the band Dogwood People on the podcast with us today. They're a band from Corpus Christi, Texas, and we are more than happy to have them on. Dogwood People, how are you guys doing?
Fantastic.
So why don't you, each one of you guys, sort of go around, introduce yourself, sort of give us a brief description of what got you interested in music and what your influences are.
Well, my name's Ron Petty, and I was influenced at an early age, probably in junior high school, had a little way to get out of class. We went to a gymnasium, and there was a band playing, and they were very, very good, and I sat back, and I just felt the power, and I fell in love, and I've been into it ever since. Started singing. Now I play drums with Dogwood People, but still loving it for a long time. Now I play with my son. We're having a good time.
Well, I'm Aaron Hanson. I play guitar for Dogwood People. I started with like classic rock stuff, hearing on the radio. I thought it was badass, so I wanted to play it, and I started playing, man. How it happened.
You get addicted.
I'm Zach Cruz, the new member, keyboard player. I haven't played any shows with him yet, but guess I was influenced from my dad because he's also a musician. I'm mainly a drummer, but I've been now playing keyboard. That's where they needed me, so.
He helps me a lot.
I'm Ryan Petty, and I got into music because this dude was in a band. This is my dad, and so like when I was a kid, he was in a band, and he would run sound at like a lot of clubs and stuff around here, and so like he gave me an acid bath CD when I was a little kid, and then I don't know,
I drug his ass into this.
yeah, and I was always around like the shows and stuff, and so I just wanted to jam because everybody else was jamming. I thought it was cool.
That's awesome. So what is the story behind the band Dogwood People? How did you guys come to forming?
Well, yeah, there's one more guy that's not here, our bass player. His name's Daniel Rangel, or Ron Hell, if you're from around here. But basically, I was jamming by myself, like just doing like some solo gigs and stuff, and it sucked. And Daniel was out on the road working, and he got in a really bad car wreck, and so he like was in a wheelchair for like 6 months. He couldn't really do anything, and so I would just go over to his house and kind of jam out with him. And then first show we played together, I wheeled him up on the stage and in his wheelchair. It was pretty cool. But then he was like, "Man, we should find like some more. Like, we need a drummer." And I was like, "All right." And we found a bass player. My buddy was gonna play bass, but he had a little bit of a drinking issue, and so he didn't really work out. And so Daniel jumped on the bass, and then we got him. We needed a drummer. We didn't really know anybody that played drums, so he jumped on the drums. And then I'm talking about my buddy that drinks too much. We found this guy at a bar. He was sitting outside playing guitar, and Daniel, he came over to my house the next day. We were gonna practice, and then so we did our EP, and we just got done with our single. We're waiting to get it mastered and stuff like that, and then we're gonna put that out. And then on the album, I wanted some keys in the background, so that's where this guy comes in. But
Yeah, we'll be a 5-piece.
so that's how the band forms.
So is there any reasoning behind the name Dogwood People? Is there a story behind that, or did you just think it was a really cool name? What's the story for that?
Basically, we were trying to figure out a name for the band, but back then it was just a 3-piece. It was just me and Daniel and him, and he was playing bass. And we were trying to figure out a band name, and like I always read like a bunch of useless knowledge on the internet all the time. So one day I was reading about like these old like Native American legends and stuff, and they had this story about how these people would live under these trees and like in these caves and stuff, and they were like, nobody ever saw them, but they would like do stuff to you at night and stuff. And so like there's like the rock people, and they were like mischievous, and they would like steal stuff from you like at nighttime. And then there was the Laurel people that lived under the laurel trees. I can't really remember what they did, but under the dogwood trees, they said the Dogwood people would live under the dogwood trees, and they would come out and like help humanity at nighttime. Like, so I thought it was a cool name.
I loved it. He walked in, he goes, "Hey, Dogwood People," and I was like, "Man, that is awesome."
So yeah, if you don't, it sounds kind of weird, like if you don't really know what it is, but really the reason I thought it would be cool is because maybe somebody would like look it up and want to know what that means, and
Right.
figure it out.
And there is a little bit of a deal with Cherokee, which we have a little bit of Cherokee Indian in us, and there's a little story behind that too.
Oh wow. What's the story behind that?
Well, I mean, it's a Cherokee deal, so I mean that's why I thought it was so cool. I was like, man, there's a whole bunch of stuff about it that's really neat. Yeah, I mean, when you look at the dogwood flower, it has opposing petals, 2 that are long, 2 that are short, like a cross.
It's got a cool flower.
Yeah, it's got like a crown of thorns in the
But that's
middle.
not really what I was thinking of when I made the name.
Well, when I
I
checked-
just thought the story was cool.
Yeah, but when people check it out, they're gonna see that, and I'm in the band, and I checked it out, and like, you know.
Yeah, I'll definitely give that a check out once we're done with this podcast here. But when it came down to deciding what type of genre you guys wanted to play, was there any discussion starting out what type of genre you wanted to play, or did you guys already have like a set genre in mind that you guys wanted to focus on?
No, we have like a pretty wide range of songs. Like we've got like acoustic songs. We've got all kinds of stuff. And so like I don't really want to like be limited to like one genre, but
We don't even know what's gonna come out when we go on the jam
a
room.
lot of times, like because we have songs that are like real, like we have like piano songs and all kinds of stuff, and then we got like all the way up to like heavy metal, like stoner sludge type shit.
It's a big. There's a huge influence of all kinds of different styles. If you saw the stuff that was poured into our heads, over all these years.
If you can see all the writing that's all over the wall.
Yeah, we actually
You
just
probably
write.
can't-
We
you probably
write songs
can't see
on
it,
the
but we
walls.
just write everything on the walls.
Yeah, we got a single coming out very soon called Insurgent Hunter that's very, very good.
So who comes up with the lyrics in the band? Is there a certain person, or do you guys all like to sort of contribute?
Mostly Ryan right now.
Yeah, I pretty much write all the lyrics.
So Ryan, when it comes down to the lyrics, is it mainly a lot of day-to-day stuff that inspires you, or is it maybe some stuff you hear on the news, or is it just some other types of stuff? Where do you get your main influence when it comes to determining what you're going to write about?
I just write about, I don't know, I write about things that I know about, obviously. So like, or things that interest me or that I want to know about, maybe. Like, I've got songs about, like I live in a neighborhood with like a lot of crackheads and stuff. So like, we got songs about shit like that. We've got songs about drinking too much. We've got songs about girlfriend leaving you or whatever. Yeah. We got songs about, interdimensional space travel.
We always love that one,
we got songs about, military. We got songs. We got. I write about whatever I'm. Whatever I'm thinking about at that time is that's what I'm gonna write.
It's kind of like the outside looking in,
Or like whatever I'm into at that time. Like I've got a song that we do that I read the book 1984. I thought it was a badass book, and so I wrote a song about the book.
Oh, that's great.
Movies. I've written songs about movies. Like I saw Requiem for a Dream and wrote a song about that. The one I was talking about with the interdimensional space-time continuum travel was basically I was like reading a lot about like quantum physics and stuff, and like it was really badass. So I ended up just writing a song about it.
That's awesome. So I've always asked every band that I've had on the show, when it comes to song titles, there's either two reasons that how people come up with them. The first is they wait until the song's already written, and then out of the lyrics they come up with a song title. And the second is that they already have the song title written before the lyrics, and then sort of just base the lyrics off of that title. What is the main way that you guys use when determining your song title?
It could go either or. Sometimes I'll write the title first, and then I'll write the lyrics. That's rare. Most of the time I'll write the lyrics. And then I'll either pull the title from the lyrics, or I'll just make up a title.
Right.
And it, I don't know. I kind of like it that way, actually, like where it's a title. Like, for instance, a song we got about crackheads and stuff, it's called Zombie Dust, but I never say Zombie Dust in the song. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's awesome. So we love to hear first show stories. What was the first show that you guys performed at as Dogwood People? Where was it at and how did it go?
Well, we started out just like all the greats do. We went to an open mic. And we jammed at this place, and we really weren't really like ready for it. We were just like, hey, let's go drink some beer and go jam out at open mic. And so we went up there, and people like really liked it. And so I was like, that's pretty cool, you know.
As a matter of fact, the sound guy wanted to join the band.
I don't even think we had a band name at that point. We were just like just, you know, kind of goofing around. And then people liked it, and one person came up and was like, so where y'all playing at next? And I was like, I don't know. And so
we're playing open mic.
And so then I was like, guys, you know, we need to get serious. So
was that executive?
Yeah, it was at the executive circle.
The sound guy that night wanted to join the band.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
hey, that's a sign. That's a sign that you know that you guys had a pretty decent show.
Ryan goes, you know, you're doing onto something when the sound guy wants to join the band. I'm like,
Yeah, absolutely. So when it's come down to your guys' experience performing live, I love to ask a lot of bands that we have on here, what is that feeling like for, and this is a question that each of you guys can answer, what is the feeling like for you performing live? I mean, a lot of people describe it as like a drug unlike any other. It's just what you guys live for after you guys practice these songs, all the amount of times that you do. But what is that feeling like when you're on stage live performing?
Well, it's like you said, nobody can really describe it. But I would say it's somewhere between having an orgasm and being high on something. The only feeling you'll ever have is when you're up there. You know, whatever floats your boat. But the thing is
we don't know what we are and are not allowed to say.
Yeah.
Oh, you can say whatever you want. No worries. No
But
worries.
anyway, the deal is the only time you're going to get it is when you're on stage. So the next thing you do is you wake up and you jam again to get back up on stage again. And that's the way it's been for me for about 30 years.
How about you, Aaron? How do you feel when you're on stage? Kind of like this piece of bread getting baked.
Quit loafing.
I like it when everybody's fucking really into it. You're having a great time. You're just rocking out together. I don't really pay attention to the crowd too much. I kind of just go on my head. Do whatever.
I would say that if you go one of two ways, you got a shitty crowd, you gotta have a bad time. It's like we played for a shitty crowd. We're not gonna say who they were. But Saturday night, we'll just say we played for a macaroni festival. It actually was a macaroni festival type situation. Yeah. Anyways, the people were all really nice and everything, but they did not dig the music at all. And so it was like I could tell that they like just could not wait for us to stop. And so it was like maybe not want to play because I was just like, I know when I'm not wanted.
That's okay. I just pounded through it.
And so like shows like that, I'm like, God, I can't. Or there's another time we played at a local place around here that's actually usually really good to us, and they're usually really badass. But this night was not badass, and it was absolutely horrible. And we played for like 2 people, and it was kind of the same situation. Like they were like on a date. They're trying to talk. We're being loud.
Yeah, but you gotta tell.
And so I was like, I'm not really feeling this. But then when it's epic,
like last night,
we
played with Great Electric Quest and a bunch of great bands, and
we played with a couple local bands, Southern Revival and Fat Cats, and Great Electric Quest from California, man. And they tore it up,
stuff.
And that was great. It was Sunday night, still had a packed house. Everybody was rocking out. It was a great time.
We survived.
That's awesome. So I always like to ask this question too. When you guys are performing live, does time seem to speed up or does it seem to stand still or is it a mixture of both?
Yeah, it seems like it happens in a flash. It's like you're up and it's over. You're like, what the hell happened?
I don't know. Sometimes it's just like the other scenario that I was saying. Like, if the crowd's shitty, it seems like it drags because I'm like, oh, I can't wait to go.
I don't see that.
But yeah, that's very rare. Like, there's only been 2 shows where I was like,
I think he's still coming off that time when he got off.
but,
The macaroni crowd must have got to him bad.
no, it was pretty bad. Everybody was really nice and everything. It was just, I could tell that they just hated the music. So like,
well, I think they were just. I mean,
yeah,
when you go to a place,
if I was a DJ and I would have played like some EDM, they probably would have loved it.
yeah. Or if you could have like
But you know,
tapped into their phones because they were all on their
yeah,
phones.
everybody's on their phone the whole time.
Yeah, just sitting there looking at their phone.
But you know, that's cool.
So when it comes to like pre-show rituals, I like to ask bands what their pre-show rituals are if they have any. We've had bands that have come on that have said, you know, we like to each take a shot before we go on stage. We like to just have a couple beers. We like to stretch. Do you guys have any pre-show traditions or do you guys just like to wing it when you get to the venue?
Food and beer.
Food and beer.
Yeah, we usually get something to eat, drink
Yeah.
some beer.
Got to make sure that
Yeah,
you
go
got
out
some
there.
food in your gut, man. You got it, man, because it's a lot of sweat and stuff. We give it everything. We leave it all on the stage, so you better.
It's also
Pump
really
yourself
hot
up.
down here, so like,
Yeah.
you get off the stage. I don't know where you're from.
Minnesota.
Oh yeah, so it's probably not that hot where you
Minnesota.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 50 degrees outside right now.
Oh God.
Yeah.
We would kill for that.
Oh, yeah, but trust me, you wouldn't kill for negative 20 degrees in January.
Oh yeah. I used to live in Pennsylvania, so I know.
Oh, yep. So when you guys are performing live, is it kind of hard for you guys to sort of find a niche of people when it comes to the fact that, like you said, you guys don't have a specific genre that you guys are really like focused on? Have you found that hard to, when you're performing live or even just performing at all, to find that certain group of fans that really, really like you? Or is it just as soon as people hear you, then they really sort of get what you guys are trying to say?
Actually, no. It actually helps because like when we play our mellow stuff, you know, the older crowd usually hangs out, and then when we play our more rocked up stuff, then we get like the younger crowd. It's actually kind of funny, like when you're like playing, you'll see like one crowd leave, like, oh, I don't like this, and then like, you know, when we start playing the other stuff, it's usually we do it by like sets. We like gradually will get more metal as the night goes on.
Well, yeah, shoot, man.
So you see the one crowd leave, and you see the other crowd come, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah, but we do have we've already developed like a following, and it's a diverse,
Small following,
Yeah.
but it's cool.
but it's
Very
very
diverse.
very diverse, and that's what's kind of it's very interesting. I mean, we got people from the ages of like 20 something to 70, and they all come out religiously.
Yeah, one of our biggest fans is like a 70-year-old lady. She's probably like 60 something.
Yeah.
But she's an older lady, but man, she rocks, dude. She's at every show. She's like our lead.
Yeah, she's our lead. Lead.
That's awesome. So how would you guys describe the music scene down in Corpus Christi? Is it very, very diverse, or is it sort of just stingent to one genre?
I would say that it could be stingent to one genre, but also not really, because you got guys that play country.
Country.
You got Tejano.
Really
There's a lot of Tejano places around
Yeah.
here. You got, you know,
really hardcore metal.
yeah, there's like
Right.
super hardcore. There's a huge like metal scene.
Yeah.
And then you got like you got a little bit of punk rock here and there. So like I would say it's pretty diverse.
What's good is the scene's coming back, though. That's what's good.
Yeah, the scene kind of died for a while, where there was like
was-
nobody playing music.
It was everybody playing covers and just, you know, and
But it's also because of the venues. The venues were hiring like only cover bands. And
Right.
So like if you weren't a cover band, they didn't want to listen to you.
No original rock.
now we get paid to play originals, which is what we like.
And when it comes to venue-wise, like you said, the venues were only promoting usually cover bands. Have you guys played in other places other than Corpus Christi? Has you guys like to expand? Is there a tour that maybe you guys are working on? What are your plans currently for that?
What the plan is so far is We got our EP out. We just got our single done. We're gonna get it mastered and do all that stuff. Then we're gonna put our album out, and then we are gonna get some merch together, and then we're gonna do like a 10-city tour, like just in Texas. Texas is pretty big, so like 10 cities and like pretty far distance.
In 10 cities.
But so yeah, and there's also like other towns around here that have like a big music scene that you can hit, like San Marcos, New Braunfels, San Antonio, Austin, Houston.
Dallas.
All those places are like really good places.
Heck, Laredo.
Yeah, Laredo.
It's really hopping over there too, man.
But as of right now, we've only played like, we played in other cities, but they're more like towns. Like,
well, the band is relatively young. We're really
we've only been around. We haven't even been around a year yet.
Yeah, 9 months.
Since you guys have, like you said, only been around for a year, what would you say is your goal then for a year from now to be at?
I want to have our album out. I want to have
the tour done.
The tour done. Just
probably working on the next.
I call it a mini tour. It's only 10 cities, so I was like, 10 cities. That's a good little mini tour. And then at that point, I would like to be putting out a single and another album so that we can get ready for the next.
Yeah, because we were invited.
Tour.
Yeah, we're invited to California last night and some stuff.
Yeah, like we got people come, like they want us to come play in Ohio, California, Arizona.
So that's gonna be sweet.
But I want to make sure that we're like geared up for that, like ready to go, and got everything we need, and plenty of material. You know what I mean? We got a lot.
And we're buying equipment.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. And when it comes to having a successful show, I love to ask, for a successful show, do you guys determine a successful show being if fans enjoyed it, or if you guys personally think that you played it well? Because there could be times where you personally think that you guys may have not played up to par, but the crowd really, really enjoyed it. Do you still consider performances like that a success?
Yes, that's thumbs up.
Sometimes you can get, just like if you're in a recording studio, you can get snowblind and just overanalyze things. but in the real world, if the people are entertained and they're loving it, then that's what they're there for, and that's what you're there to provide.
It's kind of like we were talking about earlier. Like, I consider it a success because nobody plays a flawless show. At least I don't know anybody that does. I mean,
Dream Theater is pretty close.
Like, put it this way: like 9 times out of 10, if you do something out of the ordinary that you wouldn't normally do, nobody even notices anyway. So, unless you like really mess it up.
Yeah, cheese ball it. Yeah. Fall off the stage or something.
For the most part, if the crowd enjoys it, if the crowd's having a good time, I'm having a good time. If I look out there and everybody's like, can't wait for it to be over, then I can't wait for it to be over either.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
It's only happened twice.
And we love to hear first song stories. What was the first song that you guys as a band came up with?
I don't even know.
The Age, I think.
No. I think it was,
Sure.
I want to say it was either Rock Bottom or...
Well, we also did Sun Never Shines on it.
Join the Party. Basically, we started out with, I think it was like, I don't know, it's hard to remember.
I think, honestly, though, the first song that we actually, started rocking was Age, probably. Which is,
yeah, we have a song called Age of Oblivion. That was probably the first one we really started.
And it's pretty popular. It was on the radio here in Corpus.
Oh, wow.
Night, on the local list.
No, I've always wondered, how do you get a song on the radio? Do you just send it in, or do you know someone ahead of time that kind of you say, hey, check this out? What's that process like?
It was really hard. It's like,
yeah,
it's almost impossible, actually. But basically, here there's a local station called C101 that they have a section, I guess you'd call it, where it's called Local Licks, and they'll play like local bands. And so basically, you submit your stuff. And if they like it, they'll put it on the radio. And so that's what we did.
Yeah.
But as far as like getting like mainstream airplay on the radio, it's pretty much impossible.
But what was that like hearing your song on the radio? I got to imagine that's got to be a pretty cool feeling.
It was absolutely awesome. Because I've actually been down this road a little bit before. And, we put the brakes on kind of because I was raising my kids and stuff. But I can tell you that there's no feeling like that. And I was remembering it last night when I heard it. And I was like, man, here I go again.
So how would you say personally the music scene has changed? Because like you said, you've been a musician for 30 years. What has the music scene really evolved to over those that amount of time since you started?
Well, I mean, well, I guess you haven't witnessed it all, but the thing is music. It kind of it was metal. You had Maiden and all this stuff, all this Priest stuff, and that's where I was at. I was a singer for a Priest tribute band and stuff. And all that was great. And then all of a sudden things seemed to kind of, I don't know, man, the hair band stuff and all that, whatever. And I had my own bands back in those days. Yeah, and I did covers and things. But then when I started playing with Ryan, my son, all of a sudden it was like the old things are new again. And I'm in these clubs and the music scene's coming back and I'm like seeing all this stuff and I'm just like, wow, this is insane. Last night, I mean, for example, the last time I saw a guy standing up on a guitar stack was me. And last night I saw the guys from Great Electric Quest up there and I was like, oh man, this is bringing it back. It's so awesome.
I would say that about, I don't know, 10 years ago, in Corpus, there used to be a lot of music going on, and it was badass. It was like basically there was this club called Zeros,
Yep.
and I wasn't even old enough to be in the bar. But since I was in a band, they would let me in the bar. Like they never asked me for my. I should probably.
Story?
The bar's closed now, so I can say shit about it. But basically, yeah, I wasn't even old enough to be in there, and I remember I was with our bass player. Me and him were guitar players for the band, and basically what happened was their guitar player left, and they asked us to fill in for him, and we were like, okay. And so I remember I was like, how am I gonna get in the bar? And he was like, oh, they won't ask you for an ID. And I was like, why? And he was like, because you're in the band. And I was like, oh. But yeah.
Same.
So for years after that, about 3 years, it was like really kicking ass. Me and Daniel were in 2 other bands together, and we did all kinds of shows. They used to have this thing downtown called the Art Walk that was like really cool, where they let bands set up on the side of the road. And you walk up and down the street, drink beer and stuff. It was great. But then they kind of commercialized it, and like now you can't really get a spot as a band at the Art Walk and stuff. And then once they started doing that, and then like the club started like only hiring cover bands basically, and so like the music scene kind of like fell off because there was no. If you were in an original band, you couldn't get into a place to play unless it was like some kind of house party or something. And then when we started this band, our first actual real show was at a place called Black Monk Tavern. A friend of mine owns it. He's a really cool ass dude. And when I started seeing bands that he would bring in, I was like, well, where are all these guys coming from? And so then I started seeing it like more and more around town because people were coming to his place, And so then I started seeing more and more. Maybe it was just that I was looking for it more, I guess. But now there's like Boozers you can play at. Black Monk's always got good bands.
It's the economy too. The economy is coming back. People have money to spend.
Everything's oil field here. And
Oh,
so like when the oil field crashed, nobody had any money. So like nobody was going to clubs or anything.
They were buying their 25-ounce beers and going home.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't have money to spend at a club.
That's how it works. So, I mean, being that you were also in music for 30 years, how has technology evolved, and has it been difficult for you to adjust to that way? Because now everything's digital when it comes to marketing your band, trying to promote your band. Has that been an adjustment for you?
Well, that's where I have a very strong advantage. I'm an electronics technician.
Oh.
And I worked for Motorola for 30 years, so I know all the technology. But you know what we do? We downgrade to the old technology because if you hear our sound, it's a vintage sound. That's one thing we kind of take pride in. We like that a lot. I would take an analog tape over a digital mastered thing any day. If you listen to the compressed stuff that's on the radio, it's all.
Yep.
No, I want to be able to hear the pluck of a string. I want to hear the hit of the drum head, And we're getting that.
Absolutely, and I mean that's just unbelievable. But have you also found it difficult? I mean, especially in today's age, with it just being a huge hip hop oriented, just populated, just mess kind of when it comes to mainstream music. Have you found that that's kind of been harder for you guys then to even get? I mean, like you said, you guys have a small base, but when it comes to reaching a base, are you fearful then that like most people would not be interested then because everything's just so hip hop oriented, which I personally do not like. But have you found that ever to be a challenge?
Actually, we've incorporated it in our show.
Yeah, we've actually covered rap songs, but just played it like metal style.
Yeah, we kind of metal it out. Yeah, South Park Mexican. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Oh yeah. I think I have. Yeah.
It's called High So High. Well, we metal that out, man. It sounds cool.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that's a good way I think of really reaching out there. So you said you have a single about to be released. What's the progress on that? Is it going to be coming out soon, or is there a certain date that you guys are planning on?
Right now, our audio engineer is mixing it, and then he's supposed to be sending me a copy, and then I'll send that to get mastered, and then it'll be out there. It'll be on our YouTube channel and SoundCloud, Bandcamp, and Reverb Nation, and all that.
Yep.
Absolutely.
We're already hearing the EP in the parking lots when we're driving around sometimes. It's awesome.
That's unbelievable. So again, I'll leave all the links down below for all of your stuff, your SoundClouds, everything. And I like to ask these final two questions before we wrap it up here on the show. I like to ask every band that comes on. Now, if you were walking down, and this is a question for each of you guys to answer. If you were walking down the street and some guy came up to you and said, "Hey, I'm really interested in, forming a band, getting into the music scene," what would be the best piece of advice that you would give that person in order for them to be successful? Not just successful in that they do really good or that they sell all these records, but successful in that they have a good experience.
I would say that if you have a dream, do not give up on that dream. And it may seem hard and it may seem almost impossible, but if you've got a goal and you're goal oriented and you work towards your goal, you're going to make it. Period.
I mean, I guess I'd say, like, go play as many different places as you can, like,
Get out there.
yeah, get out there, show people what you got.
You can have all the time in the world and just be in your garage or whatever playing.
You repeat that
then
Basically, I would say just like he was saying, like if you can have all the talent in the world, if nobody ever sees you, then nobody's ever gonna know.
Yeah.
And like, it's also like he said too, it's a lot of work. Like every day, we're actually every day we're doing both. Like we're working on like marketing, like trying to get new fans, trying to we even go around with CDs just in parking lots, and every time I go in a convenience store, I'm like, hey, here, have a CD, everybody. CD party.
Yeah, I can give you a for instance. See, when I got in this band, one of the things was that I've been a singer forever, and I'm not a very accomplished drummer. But when I got hurt, and man, I was all bummed out because it was an injury that made my voice messed up. And so Brian said, "Hey, Pops, no, you're not going to stop jamming," and he handed me the sticks. Well, then I had a huge thing that I had to start to learn, and with his guidance and help, and my damn dogged determination, Dogwood People, that's where that answer came from, because I came from a different realm, but I'm learning the new thing now, and it's awesome, but it is hard work.
Also hard ass work, just loading equipment.
Oh my God, yeah.
Absolutely. I've heard many horror stories about that. And lastly, if you could talk to the 18-year-old version of yourself, and this is for all of you guys to answer as well, if you could talk to the 18-year-old version of yourself, what would be the best piece of advice that you would give them musically?
Don't do drugs. I would say to be more serious, because when I was 18, I was going around, I was jamming, and I was doing stuff. And I was actually doing some pretty cool stuff, but I never took it like seriously. Like I could have been way further ahead if I would have taken it seriously.
Yeah, the girls can wait.
Yeah, that's true.
They'll get you messed up all the time, man. I've had band members fighting over the same girl, and then when we're looking at each other, we're like, dude, we should be mad at her.
Exactly.
What about you, Aaron? What would 18-year-old you, or what would you say to 18-year-old you? Don't waste your time.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Play all the time,
Yep.
all your free time.
Same thing with me, for sure.
All right.
Same shit, I guess.
So, do you guys have any other fellow bands in Corpus Christi, or any bands that you guys like that you'd like to give a shout out to?
Shoot, there's a lot.
Tons of them, man.
Yeah, there's our buddies Black Harpoon.
Black Harpoon, for sure.
Switchblade Jesus.
Switchblade,
Yeah.
yep.
Yep, we know Switchblade Jesus. We had them on. They were good. Yep.
Yeah. Fat Cats.
Bad Cats last night. Shoot,
The
last.
Last Strong Day.
Yep.
10 Pot Crowns.
Yep.
Southern Revival.
Yeah,
That's
Southern
another really good
Revival.
band.
Shoot,
That's
there's tons
the
of
thing.
them.
Now that the music scene's coming back, we've got a lot of
Yeah.
bands now. Like, there's probably a lot that I can't think of right now that are also like really good.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So again, you guys, we cannot thank you guys enough for coming on. You guys, Dogwood People. I'll leave a link down below to all of their stuff. You can go follow them on Facebook. You can go follow them on YouTube. Highly recommend giving these guys a check. I mean, just talking to them and listening to them talk. I mean, they're really one of those bands out there that I really think you need to give a listen to. They mix all these type of genres, so I really think that if you are into any type of genre of music, you will find some enjoyment from any one of their songs. And again, you guys, Dogwood People, I really highly recommend. Is there anything that you guys lastly would like to say before we wrap it up here?
Look forward to jamming for you, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, you guys ever come up in the Minnesota area, give me a shout out. I'll be the first one there at the venue, and I'll be jamming out and rocking out with you guys for sure.
Rock on, man.
We're gonna call you on that.
Absolutely. I'm honest. I've seen 3 of the bands that I've had on here. I've seen them live when they come up to Minneapolis. So I'm a man of my word when it comes to that. Absolutely. And again, you guys, Dogwood People, all the links down below. And this is Ryan Johnson, DD on the spot, signing out. Have a great night, everyone.
Night.